You're tuned in to the American Cream. The American Cream. The American Cream. A show for people seeking truth about money and how to really achieve the American dream with cream. During the next hour, you're invited to learn how credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset are essential to helping you achieve the American dream. American dream. American dream. Please join your host, Hyacinth Henderson, for today's episode.
Happy Saturday, happy Saturday, happy Saturday. You are tuned in to the American Cream Show. I am your host, Hyacinth Henderson, and you are listening to 1210 The Man with the Whoa Man whenever you hear my voice. Now, for those of you who are listening to me and you're new, maybe you're the new kid on block, you're like, who is this woman on the Man station? Well, we've made a pact, and you made this pact as a listener of this station, and everyone who listens to the station has automatically made the pact. So you don't have to sign off on it. We don't have to swap spit or pick your skin for blood because you're already in on the pact. And that pact says that whenever you hear the voice of Hyacinth Henderson, you accept and you embrace that you are now listening to 1210 The Man with the Whoa Man. So it's the man and the woman show. And I thank you so much for embracing me and accepting me and having me here, because it absolutely is an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here. So the American Cream Show is where I show you, guide you, teach you, lead you to redefine the American dream on your terms with cream. Now, you may be wondering, if you're new here, what does cream mean? Cream stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. And why is it that we're redefining the American dream? First of all, we got to do it on our terms, because for 99% of the population, you don't even know what the American dream is. You were just told that you got to chase it, but you didn't really drill down, and you didn't ask yourself how your desires, your dreams, your ambitions fit into this air quoting American dream. So we're going to shake that up here. Every time you hear my voice, know that Hyacinth is bringing a new perspective. Hyacinth is challenging your beliefs. Hyacinth is asking you to move with logic instead of emotion. That's what I'm here for. And we're going to do that by way of cream. So again, Hyacinth Henderson, I am by day, I'm just not a radio lady. Excuse me. By day, I run a full service financial planning firm. The name of our firm is the Henderson Financial Group. I've been doing it for the last 17 years. Yes, my father, the legendary, the big kahuna, president and CEO, Mr. Robert Henderson Jr. started the firm 30 years ago. I've had the pleasure and absolute honor of being there for the past 17 years. I am not just there because I'm just his daughter. I'm there because I am actually a licensed stockbroker. I am a registered investment advisor. I am an annuity and insurance broker as well. People call me the money lady. So I've been doing this for a while. I am not new to it. I'm true to it. And on Saturdays, you can catch me here on The Man. You can catch me here on The Man with the Whoa, or you can catch me here on 1210. Outside of here, you can catch me on my podcast, but we'll get into that later. Today, I must confess, because I'm telling you happy Saturday, because by the time you listen to this show, it's going to be Saturday morning. It's going to be a beautiful Saturday morning. It hasn't even arrived yet, but I know it's going to be a beautiful Saturday morning. And the fact that you are listening to this show means that you still have work to do. And so congratulations for being in the number. Today's actually Wednesday. I'm recording this show a few days early because I will be traveling. And since I'm going to be traveling, I said, hey, why not come in, record it so that you don't miss a show and you still give the people what they want. All right, boom. So now that I got that out of the way, let's get into the meat of the show. If you have not listened to last week's show, let's say you missed it, you didn't know it was going to be so great, and you know that you needed it to change your life, I encourage you to go to my YouTube channel. That's Hyacinth Henderson. Put Hyacinth Henderson in the YouTube box. And last week we talked about ego or logic. Ego versus ignorance. Ego versus ignorance is what we talked about. So go pull that up and tell me what you think. Now, rolling into this week, we're talking about, since I am on The Man and I'm the woman with the man, we're talking about relationships and money. Yes, relationships and money, two subjects that can be very sticky subjects, very taboo subjects. But again, that's what I do. I talk about the things that you probably don't want to talk about, or give you a perspective that you didn't really think about. So today we're going to talk about relationships and money. And what has prompted me to have this discussion today is I have been hearing a lot, seeing a lot. I mean, oh my gosh, the amounts of calls and text messages I've been receiving about what I think about if a man should pay all the bills in the house. I mean, I guess it's somewhere along the line, someone put it out on social media. So it's been running rampant in social media. And what I have found, or what I'm told, is that people are now making decisions on who to partner up with based on the male's ability to pay all the bills in the house. Like, you heard that right. You heard this, and I'm sure it's not new, but since it's such a topic of conversation, and with social media, we are able to then magnify everything because people can just put their words out there and their opinions, and it spreads like wildfire. And I know that it's my duty to come in and educate from a perspective of logic and facts, as opposed to just going with the fad. So the topic is, should a man pay all the bills in the house? Should you choose your partner based on his ability to pay all your bills? And I am on the man with the woe today, but I'm primarily speaking from a woman's perspective. Yes, this is going to be interesting, fellas. Don't change that dial just yet. I promise you will want to hear what I have to say. So what typically happens is you see a post, or the conversation goes like, I'm not splitting bills with anybody. With the man, I'm not splitting bills with anybody that lives in my house. If I have to split bills, then we can live alone. Or if we have to split bills, then that's a roommate, that isn't a husband, or that isn't a partner, and things like that. And so let me remind you all, as we make these statements, what I want you to think about as you listen to the rest of this show is that one of the most important decisions that you will ever make in your lifetime, and that is not the most important decision that you'll make today, but one of the most important decisions that you will ever make in your lifetime is who you choose as your partner. Let me say that again. One of the most important decisions that you will ever make in your lifetime is who you choose as your partner. And when I use the word partner, we can say who you marry, who you shack with, who your long-term partner is, whatever the term is, because I know that not everyone believes in marriage, but there are people who say, you know what, I want to do the Oprah and Stedman thing. We've been together 20, 30 years. It works for us, and we don't have to involve the government with a marriage license. So that's why I'm using the term partner. But make no mistake, I am talking about your romantic partner. So one of the most important decisions that you will ever make is who you choose as your partner. And you're going to base that decision off of their ability to pay all of your bills. We got to break this thing down. Okay. We have to break it all the way down. First of all, why is your partner, your romantic partner, the love of your life, your husband or your wife, one of the most important decisions you will ever make? Well, first of all, marriage, a long-term commitment, relationships, partnerships, romantic partnerships really have to have a purpose. They serve a purpose, and the purpose should not be for that other person to pay your bills. So when you start asking and you say, how is this going to be one of the most important decisions? Your goals, your dreams, everything that you want to do in life, every move that you make is going to affect your romantic partner. And it's going to affect your romantic partner, and your romantic partner is going to affect you. Why do I say that? If you're going to study for a new exam and your romantic partner is a type that feels like once you graduate from high school, you don't need any more education, and so you're pressing the fact that you need to study for this exam, or maybe you're saying, hey, honey, I need to pay $5,000 for this course, and their lack of belief of education is so strong that they don't keep it to themselves. They then roll that over to you. Now you're battling about furthering your education to better yourself because you married somebody who wasn't aligned. So that's just one of the ways when I say one of the most important decisions of your entire lifetime is going to be who you choose. Notice I didn't say who you settle for. Who you choose as your romantic partner, as you're journeying through this thing called life, as you are in this incarnation. You need to be able to pick the partner who is going to help you get down the line. The goal is to move the ball down the field. The goal is to not be standing in the middle of the field arguing about which route we should take. You should be so aligned with your partner that you already know this is the goal, this is the purpose of the relationship, and this is what we're going to do. So we are moving this ball down the field, and we aren't standing in the middle of the field during the middle of the game arguing about who's running the play. And so take that. I use a lot of examples and analogies and things like that because I want you to get a visual. I'm a very visual learner. I need to be able to digest things. And so as I remind you that one of the most important decisions that you will ever make in your entire lifetime is who you choose as your partner, let's go back to the fact that there are people in 2019 who are really choosing their mate based on his or her ability to pay all the bills in the household. How does that work? How does that work? So from a financial planning standpoint, again, I've been doing this for 17 years. So I have seen it all. I have seen couples who are on the same page about their money and their finances, and everyone gets full disclosure. I've seen couples who, first of all, everyone gets full disclosure and they have joint accounts. They may also have separate accounts. Like, there are no secrets as far as we know, as far as they have presented. And then I have seen couples and clients who come in and they're both seated right in front of me and I'm looking at them. And while one is talking, the other one is making faces. He or she is doing the timeout signal behind the other person's back. They're doing the throat, taking the hand across the throat, like, don't choose me, don't ask me questions type things. I even get phone calls before they come in. Hey, don't tell my wife about this account, or don't tell my husband about this account, or whatever the case may be. So I have seen it all. And I will tell you, after 17 years of doing this, that the clients, the people, the husband and wife who are on the same page as it relates to their finances do much better financially. They have much better financial success. And really, if you think about it, two really is better than one. I mean, two is better than one in almost anything that you do because you have more opportunities. So let's just think about, let me give you a very small example. Let's say you and your spouse or your partner, romantic partner, whatever the term is that you want to use. I'm very liberal in that way. Call it what you want to call it, right? You and your person. Let's say you and your person want to take a vacation and you feel like you aren't able to take a vacation because you all just don't have the money to take a vacation. Did you know that if you put your money together and you just made the commitment to say, you know what, honey, you know what, husband or bae, husband, you know what, husgirl, you know what we should do? I am going to contribute $250 a month into our, let's call it, vacation account. And you're going to contribute $250 a month into our vacation account. So total monthly, just by us coming together, we are now putting $500 a month into a vacation account. And then in 12 months, we would have $6,000. So we didn't put it together, put away $6,000. Do you think you can take a nice vacation with $6,000? I think so. I think you can even do a nice all-inclusive where the food and drinks and everything, all the booze you want is included for $6,000. But it's difficult to see the $6,000 vacation bill, vacation tab, if your money is separate and if there's an expectation that one person is supposed to pay all the bills. Because I would feel like, hey, I am paying all the bills. Your money is separate. I can't afford to pay for this $6,000 vacation because I've been paying all the bills. Like, my money has been going out. Now you want to add another bill on top of that. Now you want to add $6,000 on top of everything else that I've been paying. Even if I can afford it, I don't want to do that. That just somehow doesn't seem fair. And this is another conversation that comes up. People have these notions and they say, well, you know what? What are you doing with the money that you're saving? You're supposed to be saving since you aren't paying the bills. So using that example, I know it's very enlightening because most people don't look at it that way. They're like, gosh, you know what? A $6,000 vacation is within reach. It is within reach because I'm contributing $250, you're contributing $250. We're going to let time do its thing. And so at the end of the year, we can be wherever we want to be. We can be in Italy or the Greek Isles or the south of France together, all because we work together as a team. not as individual separate units, as a team to put our money together. So now let me go back. So first of all, let's think about money. Let me say this to you. If you've never heard me say it before, you're going to hear me say it today. And I'm going to remind you that just like I said on last week's show, money is a tool. With the understanding that money is a tool, we're going to break that down further to remind you that money is the lowest form of energy. Let me say this again. Money is worth nothing. The money that you are chasing and the money that you are basing your decision to partner up with somebody is worth zero. The value comes in when you make the decision to use that tool, aka that money. The value comes in based on how you use the money, what you use the money to tap into. So if you're making a decision to choose your partner based on the lowest form of energy, which is money, and their ability to just pay your bills, then we have to go back and question what type of relationship you have in the first place. We have to go back and question the strength of your relationship. Why do we have to go back and question the strength of your relationship? Because here is the question of the hour. What happens when your partner, who is paying all the bills, loses their income? Are you still, what other value do they bring to the relationship, right? Because the relationship really is a partnership, and the partnership is a contract, and there's a purpose. Like, it's 2019. Anyone that's grown and thinking about someone else paying their bills, we have to be of the space that we aren't choosing people in relationships for trivial things like, oh, because, you rub my back very well, or you take out my trash, or you get my car washed every week. My grandmother has this thing about me being single. And she says to me, Hyacinth, she would say, she hasn't anymore because I've drilled it in her head. She would say, well, baby, who's going to take out your trash? And what about if, the toilet, you need somebody to fix the toilet for you? And what about this and that? And she would always ask me about my relationship status and try to advocate the fact that I needed a man because I needed him to do these things for me. And I said to her, grandmother, I will not be with a man for the purpose of him doing something that I can write a check for. So that means if I can write a check for whatever value you bring, then I don't need you. Like, that's not why I'm going to choose you to be my partner. Notice I said choose, not settle. We'll get into that on another show. But I'm not going to choose you to be my partner because I need somebody to make sure my gas tank is filled every Sundays and my car wash is washed every Saturday. Or because I need somebody to pay my light bill because I'm tired of paying these bills. We got to move beyond that. And so what that forces you to do is, first of all, level up your finances first before you even have a partner. Level up your finances in such a way so that you aren't settling. Because let me tell you something, ladies, and I'm talking to you because you are the ones who want to demand that a man pays all the bills in the household. You make different decisions. You have different conversations when you can cut your own checks, right? Now, again, I love love. I'm an advocate of, love and whatever you want to do, whether it's marriage or shacking or whatever the case may be. I love that. I believe that there's absolutely a space for a woman and a man together as a unit. However, you can make a different decision. You make better decisions when you can write your own checks, when you don't need a man, but you desire a man. So understanding that, then it forces you as a woman or even as a man, because some men absolutely want a woman to take care of them as well. It forces you to level yourself all the way up and level your finances up before you meet up with somebody. That way you can choose them based on things of value. How are we going to grow together? How are this person's beliefs aligning with mine? How are their spirituality? What are their practices? Do they believe that they can talk to the busboy any type of way? Are they going to cuss the waitress out? What all the deep stuff that matters is what you can focus on. But if you are so busy focused on the fact that if somebody pays your bills and that's bae, then you're going to have a problem. That's no wonder why the divorce rate is so high. No wonder why the divorce rate is so high, because we're marrying for the wrong reason. So when I see these debates and these questions and they come to me and I say, first of all, what's the purpose of the relationship? Why are you in this long-term relationship? Why are you in this romantic connection as deep as it is that you even start the conversation about who's paying whose bills? When you first meet somebody, you should be paying your own bills. That should not be what the topic of conversation is. You shouldn't be trying to figure out if they can pay your bills and their bills. But I think people miss that because you know why? It asks you to look at yourself. And that's one of the things that the average American does. They want to look at everybody else and point the finger at everybody else instead of pointing the finger within and looking within. And when you really, really drill down to it, if someone has the requirement, and I'm not going to say, it's cool if it works for you, but if it's an absolute requirement that you will not be with someone if they can't pay all your bills, then I already know that you got some self-work to do, because you're getting ready to make one of the most important decisions of your life based on the fact that somebody can pay all your bills. Oh, baby, we got some self-work to do. Hold that thought. We'll be right back. We're about to head to commercial break. When we come back from commercial break, we're going to drill down back into this whole relationships and money and who should pay bills, and should the man pay all the bills, should the woman pay all the bills. You're listening to the American Cream Show. That's credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset with Hyacinth Henderson on 1210, The Man with the Woe.
Hey y'all, did you know that women reaching the age of 65 are expected to live 2.3 years longer than men?
Wow, don't I know it? My friends and I talk about it quite often. And we're also less likely than men to have additional sources of income to help supplement our retirement income beyond our retirement years, Robert.
On top of that, Linda, Social Security might not be enough to cover your retirement needs or those of a loved one after you're gone.
That's why it's so important, and we keep saying it, just to give the Henderson Financial Group a call. You have to learn about ways to help supplement that Social Security income with additional monthly income.
We can tell you how to do that. I'm Robert Henderson, Certified Financial Planner, President of the Henderson Financial Group.
And I'm Linda V. Harris, Vice President of the Henderson Financial Group.
Call us today at 305-825-1444 and let us help you get started right away.
Welcome back. We are back from our very quick, short and sweet commercial break. That was the sound of my father, maybe my father and my aunt at the Henderson Financial Group. We are a full service financial planning and investment advisory firm. Give us a call, 305-825-1444. I always say we are not new to this. We are true to this. We have a full staff and team of about 9 advisors and support staff to help you with all your financial needs. So we are back. Before we went to commercial break, we were talking about relationships and money. And, I reminded you of the fact that one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your entire life that will either make you or break you. It's going to help you get to where you got to go, or it's going to hinder you from where you're trying to go. It's going to help you get to your destination, or it's going to serve as roadblocks. Is the decision who you choose as your partner. And understand the term choose. Choose means you make a choice. You aren't waiting to be chosen. And I know that as women, we have been brainwashed since the beginning of time to fix ourselves, do the right thing, act this way, cook 5 days a week, do all these things, all these silly, silly things that society tells us to do with the hopes that a man will choose us to be his wife. And I think somewhere along the lines, I believe that somewhere along the lines, women lose the important fact that they're the ones who do the choosing. Like, yeah, just because someone wants to be with you doesn't mean that you have to say, okay, I'm going to be with you. But you can only choose and understand your power to choose. You can only understand your power to choose if you're operating in your wholeness. And your wholeness absolutely has to do with your financial house and having your financial house in order. I don't care what anyone says. Having your financial house in order is going to help you make better decisions when it comes to a partner. So now, boom, here's the thing. Let's say you and your partner both make a decent salary. You make a great living. Let's take it up from decent because we're not average here. You both make a great living. If your partner says, you know what, honey, I got it, I want to pay all the bills and things like that, then that's a horse of a different color, right? So there's no need for you to come in and fight and protest. No. Hyacinth said 2 is better than 1 and we should do, I should. If that is what they say, then I would encourage you, number one, to have more of a conversation, but definitely not to protest. Because what I have found is that Nobody wants to pay. Even if a man wants to pay all the bills, he still wants to know if a woman wants to pay all the bills or if she's fine with paying all the bills. People still want to know that they have a partner. And so what does that look like? It looks like, hey, I may cover all the household expenses. And then so maybe the conversation is like, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you. Are you sure? How can I help? How can I contribute to the household? Maybe I will cover the vacations. And this is what that looks like. So every month, as you're putting money into the account to cover the household expenses, maybe I'm putting money into an account to cover our vacations. And I'm not talking about, a $300 vacation to Bahamas. I am referring to a big vacation. Or maybe I am responsible for our savings or our investments accounts or our real estate accounts or whatever the case may be. Because even if someone comes to you and says that they got it, they still want some help. It doesn't matter. People always are going to welcome genuine partnership and assistance. So I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had. And speaking about the conversation, people often ask me, well, Hyacinth, how do you know? Like, when do you have the money conversation with people? Right? So it's either one extreme to the next. People don't ever want to have the money conversation with their potential mate, or they want to have the conversation immediately. And so I'm here to tell you from past experience, don't ask me about my money on the first date. Because as someone who, is very self-sufficient financially and in other ways as well, you asking me about my money on the first date is a red flag. Right. And so you have to do everything with discernment. So you want to know things, but you don't want to come off, because there are also people who want to know how much money you make for their own ulterior motives and their own selfish reasons and purposes. How do you have the money conversation? My number one answer is to watch. To watch. People will tell you everything you want to know if you just watch them. Notice I didn't say listen. If you just watch them, they'll tell you everything you want to know. Here it is. You're thinking that you have to have a sit down conversation with a checklist and, okay, what do you think about savings? What do you think about investment? What do you think about this? When they're going to give you, if you have a scripted conversation, they're going to give you scripted answers. Let me say that again. If you have a scripted conversation, they're going to give you scripted answers based on what they believe you want to hear. But if you listen to them by watching their actions, do they make regular deposits at their bank? Are they always behind on their bills? Is their phone off every single month? If you watch their actions, do they take a vacation? Are they giving? Are they loving? Do they take care of themselves? Then you will know exactly what they're doing with their money. You won't have to really ask any questions. You'll know if they're asking people to put things in their name for them, that their credit has some issues. And so as you're watching, and if you see some things that aren't in alignment, am I saying that that's a deal breaker? No. Now this is when you have the conversation, right? So you've watched and you notice that, your potential husband asked his brother to put an apartment in his name for him. And so since you notice that happens, or you notice that potential husband has, maybe his car loan in someone else's name, that's general conversation. So now the question doesn't become, why is your car in someone else's name? Because we can kind of, infer why that happened. The conversation just comes up about credit. You may have a general conversation. Oh, when's the last time you checked your credit score? Oh, I checked my credit score. I'm looking at my Credit Karma and I see what my score is, this and this. And watch again the body language. If you're talking about you checking your credit score, or if you're talking about making a bank deposit and this person's body language clams up, or they don't want to participate and engage in the conversation, that is a telling sign. Is that your indicator to then say, hey, we got to fix your credit. We need to fix your credit. No. Let's try to have a conversation. If they want to have the conversation, then you take it to the next step and explore. Then you explore what their money mindset is. But if they don't want to have the conversation, there is no sense in you getting yourself worked up, saying, oh, I don't know what they're doing with their money. I don't know how they feel. You know exactly how they feel. You know if potential husband is going to the club every week buying bottles. And then when you want to go out to dinner, it's a problem. You know if potential husband is going, buying the latest Louis, Gucci, and Fendi, and, doesn't have any money in their savings account, or never talks about retirement or things like that, or doesn't travel and take trips. So you know this. You can watch the signs without having a scripted conversation and receiving a scripted answer. The fact is that we need to pay attention. And most people, the average American, does not pay attention enough. So when we talk about money, when we talk about the red flags, there's no surprise. Like, you aren't surprised. Even if Potential Bae is loaded in money, even if Potential Bae makes $250,000 a year. And for some people that is like, woohoo, we hit the jackpot. If he makes $250,000 a year, but his relationship with money or her relationship with money is piss poor, then that's a red flag. So don't tell me about how you all were living this lavish lifestyle and now you want a divorce because down the line, he got laid off or whatever the case may be, or down the line, you don't have anything saved for your children's college tuition or your retirement or things like that. You saw those piss poor habits, money habits in that relationship with money before you decided to make him husband. Before you decided to make her wife, you saw these things. And so really, when you think about it, the takeaways from today's radio show really is, number one, be whole first. Like, be whole in every aspect, mind, body, soul, and financially. Be so whole that you don't make decisions to be with someone based on what they can do with you financially. I see it every single day. Should a man or a woman pay all the bills while the other... that's a personal preference, but my issue is when people use that as the metric. If you're using money as the metric, or the ability for someone to pay your bills as the metric for one of the most important decisions you'll ever make is your lifetime, it's a time bomb ticking. It is a time bomb ticking, and when it explodes, then you're going to have to do the self-work to come all the way back to figure out what signs did you ignore, because the signs are always there. So the relationship with money is the most important thing. And if you've heard me before, you know that I say the relationship with money is something that needs to be changed. People need to understand that you trade initially. Everyone trades time for dollars, right? That means you go to work, you clock in, they pay you. You trade time for dollars. Your goal is to start trading dollars for dollars. Let me say that again. Your goal is never to continue to trade more time for dollars. Okay, I'm trading time for dollars. I'm trading time and they're paying me 40 grand a year. I've arrived. I'm trading time for dollars and I'm paying 100 grand a year. I arrived. I'm trading time for dollars and they're paying me 250 grand a year. I've arrived. No, you have not. Because if you don't have the time, if you want to go on vacation, if you are sick, if you're under the weather, if you have surgery, and you are no longer able to trade your time for dollars, it doesn't matter if you're making $40,000 a year or $400,000 a year. You now have no dollars coming in. So I'd want you to retrain your thought process when you think about the relationship with money. It's not about how much money you making. Like, that's a piece of it. But what are you doing with your money? How much money is your money making for you? So when I speak about looking at the relationship with money, don't be caught up just because somebody could pay your little rent or mortgage, boo. You could pay it too. You can pay your rent or mortgage as well. You just have to put yourself in the position to be able to do that. So after you realize that you can pay all your bills on your own, then you start looking at what's the relationship with the money. Because after the bills are paid, what are we doing with the other money? Are we growing that? Are we investing that? And that's why I am strongly against people making the decision based to choose a partner. And these things, whenever I see these posts, I'm like, so really, if a man can't pay all your bills, if a man wants to go 50-50 or 70-30 or whatever the case may be on the household bills, do you just let him go? Like, when do you decide this? Is it on the first date that you ask, hey, are you going to pay all my bills? Or is it after you're like lost and in love and knee deep? You're like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but you're not going to pay all my bills. So I got to pick somebody else. Like, when does that conversation happen? Let's be realistic. Let's really, really be realistic about that expectation. I want to remind you that money has no value. As you're making decisions for relationships based on money, money has no value. It is the opportunities, the things that provide value. So what you're going to do, and if you're listening to this show and you're already in a relationship, you're in a partnership, you're married or whatever the case may be, look at the clues. Figure out how your person spends their money. Figure out what their relationship is with money. They will show you. And if you have been in this partnership or relationship or marriage for a period of time and you've already seen the clues, what I want you to do is take an assessment. and be honest with yourself. At this point, you aren't including them in the conversation at all because they don't have to be a part of this conversation yet. You're just making an assessment. You're having self-talk. You're observing. And while you're checking for them, you need to be checking for yourself as well, right? Because everything starts with self. As you're checking for them, check for yourself. And a funny thing happens when you have your financial house in order, when you have your mind, body, and soul in order, when you have all your stuff together, then you raise your standards. You're like, hey, I know that I got my stuff together. Why would I be with somebody who doesn't have their stuff together? And not that you have to have an 800 credit score, but you at least have to be willing to have the conversation. If I bring up credit and you clench up and that's an uncomfortable conversation for you, well, let's explore a little bit. Why is it uncomfortable? And you just don't never want to talk about it? Well, we can't be husband no more. Like, we just can't do this. We know that we can't go further because it's such an important part, and we need to learn how to redefine the American dream with Cream. We're going to need to talk about credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. We need to have these discussions. So I ask you, the homework for today is to reevaluate yourself, where you are with your finances, and then look at your partner, or if you're single, sexy, and free, and dating and stuff like that, just pay attention to people. Pay attention to how their relationship with money. That's the number one thing you can do. And then when you do that, then you'll start to make decisions not based on someone's ability to pay your bills. You'll make decisions based on what they bring to the partnership and you moving as a unit. And then as it relates to money, you'll understand, okay, do they have a good relationship with money? Are they willing to work on their relationship with money? Because I understand the conversation that I'm having with you right now, we don't have these conversations. Like, most people don't want to talk about money. It's a secret, hush, hush. Don't ask me how much money I have. Don't ask me, what I'm doing. It's a secret conversation. So I understand it can be a difficult conversation, but it's one that needs to be addressed in the right way. And the right way is not, hey, can you pay my bills for me? The right way is not, I have the expectation that you're going to come in and fully support me. And really ask yourself, if you're partnered up and you live together, whatever the case may be, and you're able-bodied and working, if you're working and your partner is working, and you're on the same team, because when I say partner, I want to look at it as a team, teammate atmosphere. You're both on the same team. Would you really want your teammate to be paying all the bills while you're out here willy-nilly balling with all your money, and then expect them to show up fully to the relationship? Like, how is that fair? If we're on the same team, I want to help you carry the load as well. I don't want you carrying all the load. Again, everyone has their own preference. And the problem for me is not when, the other person willingly says, hey, I got it, I want to do this, that's just that. But when you make that a requirement for someone, I'm going to ask you to reevaluate yourself and what you bring to the table. And I'm going to ask you to reevaluate your current financial position. I'm going to ask you to reevaluate why you want to be partnered up in the first place. Do you want to be partnered up because you want somebody to pay your bills? Because if you really want to be partnered up because you are looking for that companion to help you do this journey through life with, if you want to be partnered up because you want romance and love and, a teammate, then you aren't making a decision based on their inability to pay all of your bills. You grown. Like, you're not doing that. You're like, okay, I'm in the trenches. You're in the trenches with me. You're putting yours up. I'm putting mine up. And another question that comes up is, how should people divvy up, their money? I generally say, as long as you're having a conversation, do what works for you, because there is no one size fits all. But what happens is most people don't want to have the conversation. So if you're having the conversation, hey, let's decide. You may decide that all of the money goes into one account. You may decide that there's a set amount, an allowance, like there may be a house account. We're going to cover all the bills, and maybe you're bringing 50, I'm bringing 50, or maybe you're bringing 20 and I'm bringing 80, and we're putting that into the house account. And aside from the house account, honey, whatever you do with your money is your business, and whatever I do with my money is my business. Some people operate that way, and that works for them. Some people say, listen, we have a house account and we also have joint savings accounts, and we have access to each other's individual accounts and things like that. And we have a budget and things. So it just really depends. What doesn't work is making demands on someone and saying, I have the expectation that I'm not going to be with you because you can't pay my bills. That doesn't work. It may look like it'll work today, but later down the line, when you have all different types of relationship issues, whether it's infidelity or financial problems, you're going to look back and realize, dang, I basically showed up as a tyrant to this relationship. I put so much pressure on this person that I made them feel like they had to pay all the bills or I wasn't going to be with them. And they obliged. But after the newness wore off, then they started doing things like, stepping out. Then they started doing things like not wanting to travel with me. You doggone right, they don't want to travel. They don't want to travel because it's more pressure on them. And this is not a conversation for broke people. Let me just say that. This is not a conversation. It has nothing to do with the amount of money. It has everything to do with a teammate and a partnership environment. A few months ago, I was dating an eye surgeon. So you can imagine he has his own money. He's an eye surgeon. He has his own boat. I manifested exactly what I wanted. Boat, sailing, take me all around the world, that type of thing. We were making plans for that. When we started talking about travel, he brought the conversation up. He says, how is the budgeting for traveling going to work? I was very impressed. And I said, what do you mean? Well, previously he had dated women who had the expectation that because he was a well-off eye surgeon and had his own boat and yacht and things like that he was going to pay for the entire vacations all the time. And he said to me, he says, if I do that, he says, I can't do that, but it will no longer be fun for me. And I said, well, you're in luck. I completely agree. I agree that we need to set a budget, just like I told you all at the beginning of the show. Set a budget. Hey, where do you want to go in 2020? How are we going to make this happen? Are we going to put money into an account every month to make this happen? Are you going to pay for the hotel? I'm going to pay for the flights. Like, how does that happen? It's about the conversation. Notice that what I'm advocating or what I'm drilling in your head today is to have the conversation. Like, really tune in after you've watched, not on the first date. Remember, don't ask people about their money on the first date. How much money you got? What's your credit score? It's like, what is your ulterior motive? But after you spent some time, I'm talking about after you've been dating this person, you're getting to know this person, you've gone out on a few dates and you've had an opportunity to, number one, watch their behaviors and their actions and listen to their conversations. Are they making bank deposits? You know what I mean? Are they always going to Neiman Marcus? And what are they doing? You had an opportunity to watch them. And so now you may think that they have potential to be wifey or husband. So if that's the case, then you want to start to bring up the conversations in a way that's not scripted, but that naturally flows. And they will naturally flow, because if you're checking your credit score, that conversation is going to come up. What'd you do today, babe? Oh, I just got finished checking my credit score. My credit score is up 20 points. Oh, really? My credit score is up 20 points as well. Or dang, my credit score went down 5 points. How can we work together? But if they're like, oh, you checked your credit score? I don't know when the last time I checked my credit score. Ding, ding, ding. That's a sign. Notice we didn't start this conversation with, hey, I got an 850 credit score. You got an 850? Or we didn't start this conversation with, I'm only dating somebody with a 700 score or better. That's not how you do this. We had general conversation after a few dates, after watching patterns, and it comes up. It's going to naturally come up. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm thinking about going to Greece next year in 2020. Oh, really? I would like to go. Or dang, I could never go to Greece because I can't afford it. That's a sign. And just because you receive the signs does not mean that you automatically cancel Christmas. Then you want to have the conversations. You put it down. And as a good lawyer friend of mine always says, you see how they pick it up. Put it on the table and see if they pick it up with gloves. See if they kick it off the table. See what happens. But the point is, we have to do better as people as we start talking about money within our relationships, because there is no man without a woman. There is no woman without a man. And then when you come together, you don't want to have someone, no matter how well off they are, no matter how prosperous they are, you don't want someone to feel like you aren't a team player. And if you really are building a relationship for the right reasons and purposes, you love that person and you don't want to add to their load. You want to be the team player. Your question then becomes, how can I support you in this relationship? How can I love you? And it's not, how can I support you and love you, but you got to pay all the bills even though you don't want to, or you got to pay all the bills because that's my requirement that I say. You know what I mean? So this is something that I want you to think about. It's been coming up. I've been getting these calls and these emails and all this stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding me? People, Money is the lowest form of energy. It's worth nothing. The $100 bill in your pocket it's not worth anything. It's whatever you want to buy with that $100 bill is either a value or a liability. Like if you're spending that $100 bill on a liability, then that's really not value. But the opportunity for you to exchange that $100 bill for something in exchange, that's what you want. So why would you choose your partner based on their ability to pay your bill? They could be paying all your bills and mollywhopping you every night. Like what that means is abusing you, physically abusing you. Your person could be paying all your bills and physically abusing you, and that's all they're going to do. I'm one of those people that believes in the power of manifestation. I believe it works in my life. I manifested that sailing eye surgeon. Yes, I did. I wrote it down to a T, and 4 days later, he walked into my life. And then I was like, oh, I got to get rid of him. But that's a story for a different day. What I am sharing with you is the power of manifestation. When you think about what you want, if you say, I want a man that's going to pay all my bills, don't be surprised when you get a man that's going to pay all your bills. Or I want a woman that's going to take care of me. Don't be surprised when you get a woman that takes care of you. Now, let's think about what you left off. This man or woman may pay all your bills and may have 2 or 3 side chicks. You wasn't specific with the universe or with God or whoever you believe in. You wasn't specific. You just said, I want somebody, you got to pay all my bills. I ain't splitting the bills 50-50 with nobody. If not, that's a roommate. We ain't got to be together. Boom. I'm going to give you what you want. And you got to sit with the infidelity. You got to sit with the beating of the butt. You got to sit with the lack of emotional support. You have to sit with the not engaging, not supportive. You have to sit with those things because that's not what you asked for. What you ask for is what you're going to get. So that is the major issue that I have when people say these things like a man got to pay all my bills. If you don't pay my bills, then it's not going to work. Baby girl, you're setting yourself up. Because it may start off like that where he pays all your bills, but you will soon get into the place where you realize you need more. You need emotional support. You need mental stimulation. Like there are so many other components to a relationship. Y'all, please stop. Like dead that idea. Dead it. That you are choosing and making a decision to be with someone based on their ability to pay all the bills in the household because you don't want to be a roommate. I say you lazy. Because if you're paying your own bills now, then why can't you continue contributing to the household? Oh, maybe the thing is we aren't paying our own bills right now. So then it goes back to self. You got to get your financial house in order before you start dating. I'm a firm believer that if you broke, you should not be dating. Period, point blank, the end. Not because I want you to spend all your money on me. But if you're broke, you should not be dating. If you're broke or broken, that means broke financially or broken spiritually or mentally, get yourself together. And the reason why I say that is because your focus needs to be on something else. And that focus needs to be on self. That focus needs to be on proving yourself in such a way that you are able to get all your ducks in a row. And guess what? When you get all your ducks in a row, you're then going to align and attract, law of attraction again. You're going to align and attract someone who has their ducks in a row too. And then if both of you all have your ducks in a row, you won't need to have somebody paying your bills for you. And if you still have that old mindset, then you want to check yourself. Because if you got your ducks in a row and you can pay all your bills, but you still want somebody else to pay all your bills just because that's what society tells you, then it goes back to why are you in a relationship in the first place? Why are you in the relationship in the first place? Because a relationship is a union. It's a contract. Like, what are we doing together? It must have a purpose. I think a lot of times people compromise. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm one of those people, I don't believe in compromise. It either fits or it doesn't fit. Not to say that if it fits, there isn't going to require a certain level of work and effort for us to keep this thing going. Absolutely. It's not going to be a walk in the park, right? You're talking about different human beings. But I should compromise my viewpoints for you. Like you come into my life and say, hey, I think you're pretty cool, Hyacinth, and now, I want to change this and this about you. Well, no, it doesn't fit. And so we have to look at that when we're making relationship choices, even with our finances. If you're with someone who says, or you're like a lady and she wants to force you to pay all her bills, that's not a fit. And you don't want to do that, that is not a fit. And even if you want to do that, like how does that conversation go? Because I've seen it. I've seen it time and time again. Oh gosh. And ladies, the men who actually pay all the bills, what I've seen in the financial planning world, when it's time for that divorce, oh gosh, they shifting all type of money. Oh, they're coming in for the best strategy to shift all the money that they can, because remember, they've been paying all the bills. You don't have access to these accounts. And now they're trying to get their ducks in a row so that your attorney won't be able to get their assets. And I ask myself every time, I said, weren't you married to this person? You have children with this person. You don't want to give them no money, but maybe they tired. Maybe they never wanted to be in that position in the first place. Maybe they signed up for something they really didn't want to sign up for in the first place because, it looks sweet. They let the smooth taste fool them. And now that it's years later and they're like, this is some foolishness. No, I got to hide these assets because I've been paying all the bills. And now in divorce, you're not going to wipe me clean. And it happens. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I see every day. I'm telling you. And honestly, the happiest couples, the couples that I can tell who are all in love and are in a partnership for reasons of being in a partnership, they share their money. Their money is not separate. They have joint accounts. They know exactly where every dollar is going. They share their money. They're on the same page. The couples who I can tell who are like, one person drugged the other one in, they're over talking each other or whatever the case may be. You can tell that they really aren't happily married. They got separate accounts. They have separate appointments. I'll come in, sit in the lobby, or my husband's coming this day, I'm coming that day. And I don't think we realize how much of a carryover it has. So there's something to think about as you're, letting social media brainwash you or make you feel like you can't be with the man or woman of your dreams because they don't want to pay all your bills. That's foolishness, man. Y'all got to cut that out. It's 2019. Get yourself together. Be a whole person so that you can wholly show up to a relationship, including financially. And then 2 is always better than 1. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. You are listening to The American Cream Show. I'm your host, Hyacinth Henderson. We are on 1210 The Man, and whenever you hear the sound of my voice, it's not only the man, it's the man with the whoa man in front, because men need women and women need men. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Robert Henderson, Jr., certified financial planner, president of the Henderson Financial Group. And I want to ask a question. Are you planning on retiring soon?
Robert, a lot of people work their entire lives with that goal in mind. And if you're planning on retiring, especially within the next 3 years, you absolutely have to give us a call at the Henderson Financial Group. We have so many retirement strategies, especially as an independent financial planning firm, that will fit your specific retirement goals and objectives.
And I'm glad you said that, because retirement planning is totally different from investment planning. And Linda, a lot of people get that mixed up, because most people, when they're getting ready to retire, they probably just put their money with some retirement firm, with some investment house, and they just put the money there and they want to make it grow. But that's not retirement planning. When you come to us, we help you decide and we educate you on whether you should take a lump sum distribution or receive scheduled monthly payments.
Absolutely. We can give you the tools and the information to help you navigate and make the best choices for you and your family specifically.
So remember, retirement planning is totally different from investment planning. If you need more information, please call us at the Henderson Financial Group. Call today at 305-825-1444.
All right. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this quick commercial break. If you are just joining us, we have been talking about relationships and money on this show. If you came in late, don't worry. It will be up on my YouTube channel sometime next week. All you have to do is type in Hyacinth Henderson in the search box. That's Hyacinth Henderson in the YouTube search box. And then you can catch the replay of not only this radio show, but all my previous radio shows for the past few months. You're listening to The American Cream Show, where I show you, lead you, guide you, and direct you on how to redefine the American dream with Cream. That's credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. Because let's face it, most of us don't know what the American dream is, and it's not our dream anyway. So we want to do it our way, on our terms, with the 5 most important things that you need to get you to the financial freedom promised land. I'm Hyacinth Henderson, the woman on the man. It's not just men when I'm here. I'm in the building, and you all embrace me and love me. And I appreciate that so much. Today, we're talking about relationships and money. And I started off today's show reminding you that one of the most, hear me good now, one of the most important decisions you will ever make is who you choose as your partner, as your life partner, as your spouse, as your mate, whatever you're doing, whether you're married or not. That decision is huge. And if you choose the wrong partner, the consequences could be detrimental. It could take you on a completely different path. It could change the trajectory of your life in ways that you could not even imagine. So if we understand that choosing the right partner for us on this life's journey is so important, it's one of the most important decisions that we're going to make. I ask you, why are you basing that decision based off of someone's ability to pay your bills? Why are you basing your partnership, your marriage decision based off of someone's ability to support you, another grown human being, financially? Why are we doing that? We should not be doing that anymore. If you listen to this show, I hope I gave you some things to think about. I know that I gave you some things to think about. I gave you some things to think about. Have these conversations within yourself. And then as you have these conversations within yourself, start watching. If you're coupled up already, watch your partner. You want to take an assessment of their relationship with money. And you're not taking this assessment because you want to sit down and have a scripted conversation and go through an interview. I saw that you bought 2 drinks and instead of 1, and that's not what you're doing. You're assessing their relationship with money so that you can see how and if it aligns with your relationship with money. That's what it's about. You're making the assessment. And as you make the assessment of yourself, you make the assessment of them, then your conversation starts to change. Now we aren't just talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever it is. Or maybe we're not just talking about Monday Night Football. We're actually talking about, how was your day today, babe? It was great. You know what? I got a bonus. I actually deposited an extra $1,000 into my account. Or it was great. I checked my credit score and my credit score is up 500 points. Or it was great. I checked I was able to pay an extra $500 on my credit card bill. So when you start changing these conversations, then you can watch to see how they engage you with the conversations. Now, if you're dealing with somebody you don't want to talk about, don't want to be about it, then you have some tough decisions to make. Because as you journey on, you're going to need a partner that's on the same page as you. And if you're not on the same page, including financially, I promise you later on down the line, it's going to cause a problem. But if you have these conversations, and they may not be where you are, but they're willing to have the conversations, and they say, oh, really? How did you get your credit score up? Like in 1 month, your credit score went up 50 points. How did you do that? If they want to have these conversations, then you know that you probably have someone that you can work with, right? You got to check all the other check boxes off, right? Are they a good person? Are they a killer, stealer? Things like that. But that's how you have the money conversation. The point is, you absolutely must have the money conversation. You cannot afford to be in a relationship. You cannot afford really to engage in sexual activities with someone who you can't talk about money with. Talk about intimacy. We can get intimate on that level, but we can't have an intimate conversation about our finances. Really, really think about that and reevaluate what you're doing, because my goal for you, my sincerest wish for you, is to redefine the American dream on your terms. And if you're partnered up with somebody, you want to make sure that your teammate has on the same color jersey as you. You don't want to be on the field with somebody and you think that they're on the team, but they're really playing for the other team. Every time you save money, they're spending the money. Or they got you paying all the bills and they're out here balling. That's not a teammate. That's not a teammate. I don't care how good they look. I don't care how many muscles he has. I don't care how good those Instagram and Facebook selfies look. You need a teammate. when you're talking about a relationship of substance, it's supposed to be somebody that's a teammate and a partner. And you cannot have a teammate or a partnership if we cannot have those intimate conversations about money. Where can you find me? You can find me online, www.thehendersonfinancialgroup.com or www.hyacinthhenderson.com. That's HYACINTH. You can also find me on all social media platforms. That is Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, Hyacinth Henderson. All my social media has my real name. If you're old school and you play by the old rules, I can dig it. Give me a call at the office, 305-825-1444. You have been listening to the American Cream radio show on 1210, The Man with the Whoa Man. Whenever you hear my voice, it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor. I will catch you next week. Peace.
You've been listening to the American Cream Podcast, the #1 audio production show for people who want to achieve the American dream with cream. Love this episode of the American Cream? Head over to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. For free resources and materials, go to theamericancreampodcast.com.